So, okay, continue on. The Tether's significant growth comes during a period of growing stablecoin adoption among both US investors and lawmakers. It's just up and to the right, guys. The stablecoin supply recently surpassed $219 billion and continues to rise, suggesting that the market is likely still mid cycle as opposed to the top of the bull run. Because if you remember, Brett has done some really good studies that he shared here and on M3 that when you see stablecoins drop, um, or rise rather, excuse me, that's usually, getting close to not rise. It's the opposite. Now I'm getting all confused. I'll have to go back and look at Brett's thing. But basically, when bear markets happen, money rushes out of crypto and into stables, and then stables get depleted when people are moving upper from stables into crypto. Now this time's different because a lot of people, the only use case back in the day of a stablecoin was just to like stay in the crypto ecosystem, right? Moving in and out of trading, right? You want to trade Bitcoin for a stablecoin, or Cardano for a stable and move back and forth without going into actual banking dollars, then that was fine. But now people are just using these for like payments. Like Stripe has been making a big deal on moving a lot of their stuff to stablecoin rails in addition to like Fedwire system. So you're seeing not only are people using these to protect, crypto gains, but frankly, there's a lot of people who could give half a shit less about crypto at all. They don't care about anything to do with price appreciation or, you know, gaining from trading. They're just people in countries with far, you know, worse fiat currencies that just want to hold these and use them to store their money in like a flat thing that doesn't really go up or down against their local currency. So that's really good to see. Now, Bitcoin may recover to 90 grand amid easing inflation concerns after the FOMC meeting. So, despite widespread investor concerns, Bitcoin may be on track to a recovery above 90 grand due to easing inflation concerns in the US, according to Market Thiessen, CEO of 10x Research. This is not a major bullish development, rather some fine-tuning from policymakers. We think Bitcoin will be in a broader consolidation range, but we could trade back towards 90 grand. You can see that we're already starting to have that happen, right? Investor confidence may also be improved by the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell's comments saying the Fed will remain and hold amid uncertainty among households and businesses. The FOMC meeting is crucial for Bitcoin's trajectory. I love this quote here. If Chair Powell spreads his dovish wings, Bitcoin could take flight on renewed bullish momentum. So that's kind of a fun one to see here. And I think that's true. I think that could work. Now, Bitcoin tags 2-week highs as market bet big on Trump crypto news. This is 7 hours ago. Markets seem to be dropping a bit today just because we had such a big day yesterday. We're getting a little bit of profit taking there. I'll have to scan and see what's going on and see if Trump has spoken yet at the meeting. I hope it's not a type of thing where people are thinking, oh no, if he doesn't announce that the US is suddenly buying a ton of Bitcoin, then it's a bearish thing, which it's not. So anyway, people love to bet short-term on short-term news instead of just staying long and chill. Bitcoin spiked to 2-week highs March 20th amid rumors the US government was preparing a major update, quote unquote, to its crypto policy. Fed, as we talked about, injected major relief into stocks and crypto, currently consolidating near 86 grand, benefited from a fairly cool Federal Reserve meeting a day prior in which officials opted to hold rates at current levels. A quote wait and see approach was enough to relieve troubled risk assets, including Bitcoin joining US stocks, surging and finishing the day lighter. The S&P ended up by around 1%. Guys, it's really interesting to look at this. If you look at where Bitcoin's price is, right? When it dropped to 87K, that was still, or 77. That took us back to November 10th prices, 4 months. If you look at the S&P, the drop to the low took us back to August prices, and then previously took us back to July of 2024 prices. So the S&P you could have bought at that local low for the same prices you could in July of 2024, whereas Bitcoin over that same time period only sends you back 4 months, instead of back into 2024. So it's pretty wild to see just how much Bitcoin specifically has moved. So let's continue on here. Where were we? There we go. So Jay Powell, this is of course Arthur Hayes. Jay Powell delivered quantitative tightening basically is over starting April 1st. The next thing we need to get bulled up for reals is either the SLR exemption or a restart of quantitative easing. He wrote in a characteristic ex post referring to officials rotating from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing. These are the type of changes, guys, that are like a big sea change. This is when you start going hyper bull time, hyper bull mode, because tons of money starts making its way back into the economy. So, as we've already talked about, he says, yes, Bitcoin 77K was probably the bottom, but stocks probably have more pain left to fully convert J to Team Trump. So stay nimble and cashed up. So he's thinking that stocks in the S&P specifically could see more downside before they boom. Bitcoin traders eye U.S. crypto announcement. This will be the first major update since March 6th when the National Crypto Reserve was established. Rumors state that President Trump may be making a significant change to his strategy, so let's hope it's not something really, really stupid, like adding a bunch of shit coins and stupid meme coins and dumb things that aren't going to help at all. However, with the latest daily close above key resistance trend lines, cause for optimism was quickly returning. Bitcoin only needs to rally an additional 8% to position itself for a reclaim of the range above and end to this downside deviation. So is that a lot considering Bitcoin's almost up 13% since last week lows? Probably not. So you can see we see this dip, boom, dip, and then support, 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 support. So hopefully that was the support that we needed. We see this 17% correction here, 17% correction, 18% here. So hopefully we get that move back up. And then this summer we start moving way past 100 and we start moving to that 130, 150 range, which is, what I'm really looking for next time. Okay, this is just another chart showing you the overall lag here between global M2, which we talked about, and all signs point to go, frankly. All signs point to lots more money printing have happened and that are working their way down into the economy. Therefore, that should lift crypto prices. And you can really see here, if I refresh this screen, sure, there's deviations, but the overall trend, you can see, they move in pretty close lockstep. You can see when liquidity right here drops, so does Bitcoin. When liquidity rises, so does Bitcoin. Peak, liquidity drops, liquidity rises. So really liquidity, this pink line is all you need to know. Overall, global monetary supply, M2, just keeps going up and to the right, albeit with moves up and down, move up and down. So really, this is how you take the emotion out, right? You get the emotion out. You can see that, Bitcoin here in the white has been moving down, whereas this pink has been moving up. That eventually catches up, that deviation goes away, and then Bitcoin starts moving up along with that M2 money supply. So right now we just need to be in the patience zone. Right now we're at 83.9. I haven't really done any technical analysis because I'm not following it too closely, but really Bitcoin dominance is still just up and to the right. In fact, we've never really seen it do this much into a bull run. I guess the last time we had this, the big bull run was 2021, and that thing January 1st really just took off like a shot. Altcoins just ran like wild until March, had a brief pause, and then just went crazy all year, just all year. And this is what happens when you get quantitative easing, by the way. Quantitative easing started right here. If you remember, the day that where was that? I probably already closed that window. This one. Let's go back here. January 21. If you remember this, this is where the U.S. economy as a whole, basically, everyone bought the dip on stocks, like big. Well, not everyone. The people who were in the assets under management for Bank of America, their second biggest day in history that this program's been around, these people are basically buying the dip. These are record dip buys. And the second largest dip buy was January 21. Now, why is that? If you look at January 21, in fact, if you look at what would have happened in Bitcoin January 21, January 21, right here, I guess. Bitcoin tends to front run everything though. But essentially what happened is that the money finally started trickling from quantitative easing and just ramped Bitcoin to this massive degree, right? And what's interesting is that now we're going to start seeing a bit more quantitative easing. It may not be that same degree, but that could be what sends us far, 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 far up and to the right. And really, you can see that this just, right here, March 20, COVID candle of doom. Look at that. Liquidity drops off a cliff, so does Bitcoin, and then the money printers start. So you can see that's what created this giant run. In fact, if you look at this blue year-over-year growth rate in money printing, just went crazy. And this whole time, we've been kind of flat low, and we're starting to finally come back up here. And even though, look at this. This amount of money printing is unprecedented. And that sent Bitcoin to 69,000. we've only been down to here, and Bitcoin's well over 69,000. So what happens when we get a repeat of this, albeit maybe half the size or even a quarter of the size and scope? That means that sends us to 150, 200,000 Bitcoin, and that's not even accounting for all the things like the stablecoin regulation bill, crypto regulation bill, the continued expansion of stablecoins in the US, the lowering of interest rates from the Fed. There's a lot of really good things on our radar that are pointing to green for the rest of this year. So I think you guys should be quite excited for the rest of this year moving forward. So anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Brett will be back next week. We'll get some new coin picks for you and follow up on our previous ones since Brett will be back. He is kicking it with all the mega OGs in crypto on his Puerto Rico cruise. It's just so funny that we missed each other by like 2 weeks. So anyway, Puerto Rico is an interesting time. Good times ahead. And yeah, guys, just stay long, chill, just let all this stuff play out. And yeah, we'll get in a little bit more detail next week. But it's good to be back. Thank you guys for giving me last week to go and attend to family matters. That was some scary stuff. Never fun, but everything's turning out okay. So that's good. Anyway, thank you, everybody. This will be recorded and uploaded very, very soon. And I'll just leave you with that. Always hit me up. I'll share some more information over the weekend in the Retire Rich chat, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.